Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Anarchy Day Trading Podcast. Hope you all are absolutely killing it in the market. I'm doing okay. I was going to say I am too, but I can't say that for the last week. But hope you all are doing really, really well as you, Jordan. Today, I wanted to talk about, and Jordan, you mentioned this right before the podcast. We wanted to talk about why many people plateau, why it seems like day trading is a constant fight, right? You can properly day trade when you're paper trading, but the second you start trading with real money, you suck, or you start getting reasonably well at trading even with a little bit of money, but the second you pass a prop firm account, you suck and you immediately fail. There's every time you make just a slight little bit of progress, it feels like two steps forward, one step back, or two steps forward, two steps back, and you're not making any progress. And this is a constant problem where even quote unquote good or successful day traders, they plateau at points where they can't make any money, or they can't. You'd think, Jordan, that day trading is infinitely scalable. In fact, you mentioned this last week. It's infinitely scalable. If you can profitably trade with $100, you should technically be able to trade profitably with $1,000, but people in the real world can't. We wanted to talk today about why that is and what you can do personally to avoid that, to push past these plateaus and actually scale in reality. Jordan, how you doing, man?
Hey man, see my jacket? It's 4:45 in the morning, and we're supposed to get the first snow of the season today. So I am very excited, and I am wearing my jacket in anticipation of finally getting snow. Colorado is on a record pace of for not having snow. Last time it snowed was like April 17, so it's been like 200 and some days without any snow. And for Denver, Colorado Springs area, that is unheard of. And so I'm very much looking forward to getting some snow today. Hopefully, I don't have shovels yet, so I should probably stop at Walmart and pick up some shovels before it snows. But other than that, very excited. But yeah, Levi, I kind of, when before the podcast, we were mentioning the fact that I want to talk about why do you trade, and you mentioned it in the intro, why do we trade our funded accounts differently than we trade our eval accounts? And why do we trade our eval accounts different than we trade our paper accounts? And the fact is, it's just psychology. Your worst enemy when it comes to trading is yourself. And it's your psychology. We talk about psychology a lot on this podcast, and I don't think it's something we've actually talked about in a while. And it's something that we kind of poo-poo when Levi and I, we've mentioned it before. Levi and I really poo-pooed trading psychology when we first started trading. We were trading savants, we thought, after the first month of paper trading. Turns out we're just like everyone else. But the fact is, trading is a game where you will be fighting yourself every single day for the rest of your trading journey, career, hobby, whatever you want to call it. You're going to be your worst enemy for every single day, because your brain does weird things, and how you paper trade is not how you're going to trade your eval account. How you trade your eval account is not how you're going to trade your funded account, and how you trade your 50K funded account is not how you're going to trade your 100K, your 150K, your 200, your 250K, and your 300K accounts, because you're going to trade each one of those completely different. Fortunately, and you're going to have new plateaus and new battles to fight every single time.
Yeah, and it's an unfortunate reality, but it's true, right? Every time you make one, it's
Step
comparative,
forward.
right?
It's
And
like
that's the
one step
problem with
forward. It's
your,
like one step
yeah,
forward, two steps back.
yeah. Yeah, and it's comparative, right? So it's anything compared to what you previously did. So if you previously traded with 50K, and now you're trading with 100K, it's going to be harder for you. Um, this is just it's just how that works, and every time you make one small change or one small push forward, you're going to have to essentially relearn to get your emotions under control, to put those bad habits. And that's why we're constantly talking about bad habits. We constantly talk about following your rules, and that's really boring stuff to talk about. The problem is you can, at any point in your journey, start making bad decisions and start getting bad habits. Jordan, you and I have done this. many times, and which is why, by the way, writing in your journal is really important. We always talk about this, but it's really easy to, get past the point where you're not wanting to to write in your journal. The problem is bad habits crop up at any point in time, right? And so you can be trading really well, and then you're you just start doing a certain thing, and you start trading poorly. And so bad habits constantly crop up. In day trading, you're never going to get to a point, I promise you, to where you're not making bad decisions, and where you're not going to be constantly having to kind of fight the urge to do stupid stuff. It's always going to be there. And so this is going to be a constant fight. It's going to be a constant decision to do what you know you need to do. And many people aren't willing to do that. And so this is kind of an uncomfortable, I mean, to be perfectly honest, day trading is not easy. We've talked about that a lot. Day trading is very difficult, and it's not very comfortable at times. And you're going to be constantly fighting the urge to do stupid stuff. So make sure you're tracking that. Make sure you're tracking your ability over time, because every time you take a step forward, you're going to have to relearn. You're going to have to reconfirm that you're not going to do stupid, stupid decisions.
Yeah. Um, Man, I had a quote. No, I had something. I was going to say, so just a reference out there. It's been a while since we've thrown out some resources. And Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas couldn't. It's the only trading book that I would recommend reading, because guess what? It's not about trading. It's about psychology. Reading books on patterns and candles and I don't know, voodoo is not going to help your trading. It just really isn't. But reading about the psychology of trading and how that affects your trading on a day to day basis and what we can do to overcome it, priceless. So Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, highly recommend it. If you can, you can get it off Libby or Hoopla or your library apps, or you can just go on YouTube and listen to it, because they do have a couple versions that are read on there for free. Probably a copyright infringement, but anyways, it's on YouTube. So if it's on YouTube, I think it's allowed. So feel free to check that out. It's a great read. It's about 6 hour read, and just phenomenal reading book. I try to read it honestly on a regular basis to kind of remind me of what I'm missing.
Yeah, and it is truly fantastic. It's the only book I read on day trading. The fact is, people want to hear about hey, this strategy, or how to use technical indicators, or blah blah blah, right? They want the magic bullet, and I understand that. Our podcast would be more popular if that's all we talked about, I promise you. But it's necessary, right? When we talk about this stuff. Okay, so we talked about why this happens before we lose anybody, right? I hate talking about a problem without giving a solution. Okay, so if this is going to be a constant battle for people, if we're going to be constantly pushing to kind of hold ourselves in check and keep making good decisions as we get better, what are some ways to do that? Like, how are we supposed to actually make progress? We are going to be constantly fighting. So how do we keep that progress going forward so we don't plateau? I know for many people, the reason, I won't say for many people, I think for most people, people plateau because they don't want, it's uncomfortable to get better, right? If every time you take a step forward, it's an uncomfortable battle with yourself, people eventually reach a point where they're tired of it and they're making a little bit of money. So even the successful people, when you say about like 1% of day traders are successful, even the people who are successful aren't wildly successful. And I think the reason they aren't wildly successful, even though their skill is infinitely scalable, as we mentioned previously and last week, is because eventually they reach a point where they're making some money, and it's just a battle. It's uncomfortable to get better. And so if they try to get better, they're going to start failing again. That doesn't feel good. And so they eventually just reach a point where they're comfortable. How do we push past those times? How do we get better? If this is infinitely scalable, how do we scale to infinity?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is just taking it one day at a time, right? Knowing that just knowing that you're going to be fighting this the rest of your career. I mean, listen, even the best day traders in the world, and I follow a couple, I follow a couple guys that come from institutional trading, and they've been trading for 20 years, and they will trade live, and they do some things, and these are guys who trade at a large scale and make a good amount of money. We're talking a few $1 million, which again, just newsflash, guys. Even the best traders in the world, most of them are making a few million. We're not talking millions and millions. We're not talking billions. We're talking in the realms of today's day and age. They're not making that much money. They're making decent money, but they're not making a ton of money. The fact is, just remember, everyone has bad days, and you're going to be fighting your psychology. You're going to be discouraged. You're going to want to give up on a regular basis. So once you know that and you know that's coming, you can prepare for it. And then just have a plan in place for when you hit those hard times, right? So if you know that you're just going from a eval account to your paid account or a funded account for the first time or the second time or the 50th time, have a game plan in place. And then also just remember, maybe take a little breather, take a break. So instead of going from your eval to your funded account on the same day, take a step back, pass your account, say, okay, I'm going to take the rest of the week off, or I'm going to take a day off. I'm going to open up a new journal, and then I'm going to go approach it, right? So don't just rush it, try to force things, because once you understand, being prepared and knowing that this is going to happen is half the battle, right? So then when it happens, it's not a surprise to you, and you can take a step back, not blow that funded account in one day, and go from there.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point where just knowing that, hey, nothing's wrong with you. I promise you, right? If like you feel like, hey, I'm good at paper trading and then I start trading with real money and I'm bad, something's wrong with me. Or I pass my eval and then I immediately blow my funded. Something's wrong with me. Or I go from a 50,000 funded into 150,000 funded and all of a sudden I can't trade anymore. Something's wrong with me. Nothing is wrong with you. This is this is you. This is humanity, right? This is how this works. This is how our brain works. It's a very natural phenomenon. It happens to everybody, and the only way to get past it is through. I think a really useful thing is just knowing this is normal. This is normal. It's perfectly fine. This is going to take some repetition. And so be prepared to get into, pass your eval, get your funded, and immediately start trading awfully. Just make sure that, like you said, Jordan, that you take time, take a breather, don't blow stuff immediately, don't lose all your money, don't do anything crazy stupid, and just work on kind of building your skill set again. And hopefully, if you come in with the correct mindset, you can shorten that period. You can shorten that awful period where you went up and now all of a sudden you're trading awfully. And you can kind of keep it manageable. What you don't want to do is get yourself into sort of a doom spiral where all of a sudden you start trading like trash and you start freaking out. Because I see that happen quite a bit. And that's where people either give up or they don't give themselves the time to build the skills. And so, yeah, going in with the correct mindset, putting the kind of the time in as far as coming in with a good idea of how this is going to affect your trading, it can it set you up into a really good spot going forward.